Welcome to Shots from the Foul Line podcast, a metaphorical nod to both the game of basketball and the unpredictable nature of life. Join your hosts Vic and Dustin as they dive into their unique experiences, ideas, and philosophies while discussing a range of sports topics and storylines. Shots from the Foul Line reflects their journeys of taking life shots, one conversation at a time.
I don't know, man. This dude looks like he's about to die.
Hey, Vic. Welcome back. Super excited for us to be here again. How's it going?
Everything's good. I'm Vic, and ready for another great episode. We appreciate everybody who's been listening so far, and people I've had, come up and ask me, they still want more and more and more episodes. So, hey, we're trying to get them out as fast as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I'm having a blast with this. So, based on our schedules and me staying in positive weather, because I'm a little under weather right now, we can knock out a couple episodes a week, hopefully, just to make sure we have plenty of content out there and keep the ball rolling and having a blast with all the things that are going on in sports. So always excited to be here. Hey, so main topic I want to talk about today, and I think you and I can really dive into this one, is All-Star games. Now, definitely start with NBA because I think that's kind of the prototypical one. That's at least the one I thought of the most when I was a kid. That was the one I was most excited about. But where has the All-Star game gone? What is your take on it? Does it look like it used to in the 90s? Like, what are your overall thoughts on those NBA All-Star games?
Well, I think it's nothing like it was. I mean, now it's like you have a draft. I like how it used to be back in the day when you just had two teams and you didn't have the skills competition, all that. And, at least it might not be competitive the first three quarters, but by the fourth quarter, a little bit more competitive. Now it's just like you play an all-star game, but it's more like a dunk contest. I mean, this year was, it's turned into not what it used to be at all.
Yeah, it's funny because I know on previous episodes we've kind of talked about that generational gap. And even my 19-year-old agrees that it's not entertaining. It's not worth watching. It's not fun. I thought even that generation would still probably be into this, but apparently not. They're down 13% viewership from last year. They changed the whole look of it. But even before they made the change this year, you look at last year's game, somebody scored over 200 points. Like, come on, man. You look at the 90s, they were actually playing defense. It was competitive. You got to watch Kobe versus Michael. You got to watch these incredible matchups, and they took it seriously, right? And yeah, they still scored a ton of points, and they still were a little bit easier on defense.
Right.
But it was way more competitive. They took it more seriously. It was an honor to be there, right? There's a huge thing about being named an all-star, especially in the starting five. In this day and age, it's just, to me, just a waste of time, to be honest. And they try to add the skills piece of it to try to create a whole new flair, but I think it's kind of lost on the audience. What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't really watch it. I didn't even watch the skills competition, to be honest with you. I'm not feeling it the way I used to. I mean, like I said, back then, it was always, you knew what was going to happen. You had a weekend, you had a slam dunk contest, 3-point shootout. That's when they still have that, but I just think the skills competition, they need to get rid of that one.
Yeah, I mean, three-point contest, love that. Dunk contest was huge back in the day, and it did seem to get better almost every year for like a 8 to 10 year period, and then it just, at this point, what can people do that hasn't been done already?
Right.
Maybe that's a part of the problem as well, but I will ask you this. So, who is your favorite slam dunk competitor of all time?
Well, I'm going to have to say Vince Carter.
Oh, you stole my answer.
I mean, watching him in a slam dunk contest, I mean, he was doing stuff that you never knew humans could even do. Man.
Never even thought about trying. I mean, he came out there jumping out of his shoes. I mean, closing his eyes, going around the rim, hanging on the rim with his arm. I mean, just the stuff that guy did was incredible.
Yeah, it was. I mean, way better. I mean, well, I will say this: the part about the slam dunk contest this year is when he jumped over that car. That was, and he jumped over the roof of the car, not the front, and I will say that was amazing.
That is pretty cool. I do kind of steer away from those dunk competitors who are over like 6'2". Like, I think, you remember like Dwight Howard, he was awesome to watch, but he's also he can dunk just standing there, right?
Yeah, but
So those kind of guys, to me, I already have an advantage. It's not as compelling when you watch somebody like a Spud Webb go up there and throw it down.
Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy Bogues too, man. Those guys. I mean, Spud Webb. I mean, that guy's vertical was insane, right? He was so tiny, but yeah, I think just all-star games in general have really kind of fallen off. Um, the NFL Pro Bowl. I used to love watching that, and it was weird too because it used to always be in Hawaii, so it had this cool like theme and this cool, like really specific kind of mood to it, and they had a lot of fun with it. Um, and of course, you would only really watch the Pro Bowl when your team wasn't in the Super Bowl because then
Right.
your players might actually be in the Pro Bowl. But
Exactly.
same thing, man. It's not as entertaining. They try to do the same thing. They have the skills competitions as well, which I'd rather watch that than NBA skills competition for sure. But
I mean, now it's flag football. I mean,
right,
the main reason why they said they went to flag football, I mean, I can kind of understand that because players were getting hurt, and I mean, this is a career thing, and you got to think about it. That could be something that some players in their career playing in a Pro Bowl. So
it's funny that you say that because we brought up this name before. Pete Rose, man, All-Star game lays a dude out, and I'm pretty sure that guy's career was never the same.
I don't even know if he ever played again,
Yeah,
and I think it was Ray Fossey. I think that's who it was. I'm not 100% fact.
but it just goes back to these sports are different than they used to be, right? They're much softer. I get the idea of being safe. I don't really have a huge problem with the flag football. Again, to your point, they're not going to get injured. Not like people are really hitting hard or really even making tackles in the Pro Bowl, anyways. But um, I do think the limited size of the teams kind of makes it a little different as well. It's not as entertaining in that sense, but yeah, these these games are definitely no defense, all offense. I was even getting my haircuts the other day, and they had the hockey All Star game on, and that's all you're seeing is just goal after goal after goal. It's like rapid fire, and it's funny because I'm sitting there watching like, I mean, these are the best goalies in the league. How are they not stopping more of these shots? To me, it's almost just like they're even kind of half-assing the defense as a goalie tool. Just kind of like, well, I'll let them score a little bit more than usual, I guess. I don't know.
I'll say the only All Star game that's pretty entertaining right now is baseball because it's still what it is. It's the home run derby, and then it's the regular game. You know, not a ton of runs are being scored. Sometimes hardly any runs are being scored. But I'm saying that's one All Star game that stayed pretty much staying the same.
I agree, and I think the fact that they have so many talented pitchers, and they're only going to pitch 1 or 2 innings probably, they're going to give it their best for those couple innings. But yeah, to your point, the home run derby, it is what it is, right? It's the same ball, same bat, same stadiums. Nothing's really going to change there. Still super entertaining.
So that it is. I mean, the players go out there. I mean, they go out there. Them guys be getting exhausted during home run derby. I mean, and they really and if they win the first round, they go to the second round, and they got to go to the semi and then the finals. That mean you going 4 rounds. By the time your arms probably feel like a lead weight
Oh
holding
man,
that bat.
swinging for the fences every time like that, absolutely. I mean, they're working out. It's definitely it's a task to get to the championship and actually win that whole thing. But I still think they see it as an honor too, right? It's a historic thing. You got some incredible names who've won it in the past. Um, yeah, to your point, I do agree. I think baseball has held true to what it has always been. It is definitely more entertaining than the other sports. But the other sports, just like defense, just falls off to the side. Nobody tries at all. Obviously, to your point, nobody's going to try to be too aggressive. They don't want to cause any injuries and things like that. So super interesting. But I just thought it was crazy that my 19-year-old actually agreed with me on something sports related. I was like, oh wow, he also thinks it's boring and
Right.
kind of a waste of time.
I
So
mean, speaking of home run derby, uh, we live in Arizona. Everybody who's listening or will be listening, and spring training is underway. The first games were yesterday. So if you're here in the valley around Arizona and you want to see some good baseball, go out and check out spring training because the games are entertaining and you get a chance. You really get a chance to meet some of the players you probably would never get a chance to meet, and they're more. It's spring training. They're just getting everything broke in, and they're more friendlier, and you can maybe get an autograph or maybe get a picture or something with these guys.
yeah, absolutely, everything's way more laid back. You don't have I don't even know how many people fit in those stadiums, but 70,000 people in a baseball stadium probably. Way smaller, so the crowds aren't as big. It's just way more intimate, way more low key. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's a blast. And yeah, Arizona's got so many different stadiums to choose from. all across the valley. Plenty of options for sure. Brings me to our next topic, which is hysterical to me in the sense that I've never been a Yankee fan, which is fine, but I always think of this one Simpsons episode where the Mr. Burns hires all these like famous baseball players and he gets Don Mattingly on his team and he keeps benching him because of his facial hair. And this whole thing is around George Steinbrenner insisting that nobody on the Yankees can wear any facial hair since like 1976. And out of nowhere, shocks everybody this year and says if it's a well groomed facial hair, it's allowed now. So crazy. What are your thoughts on that one?
I mean, everybody else wears a lot of teams. I mean, I look like if it's groomed. I mean, I do agree with that. I mean, you've seen some of these beards these guys have in major leagues, man, and they like you can barely see their face. I mean, long. If they're nice and well, they look good. I know. I'll say that because my wife, if I ever had a real beard, then she wouldn't kiss me. So I mean, beards not me. I'm always clean shaven, and so I mean, the ones who have beards, as long as they keep them like you have a beard, yours is nice. What I'm saying, you see the ones who don't, and I mean, you've seen the beards way down on their chest. Nah, that don't look good to me.
So I agree with that, but what's funny to me is you got guys who have full sleeves of tattoos, you got piercings, you got big jewelry they're wearing.
Right.
So I mean, in reality, they're already flashy. The outfits they wear to the game. I mean, football probably more than baseball, but you know they're very flashy. They're very unique attire. Um, I'm pretty sure Travis Kelce got a lot of flack for what he wore. I think it was to the Super Bowl. Funny enough,
Well, it's interesting that you say that. Have you seen some of the outfits these guys be wearing?
I see. I don't see baseball as much as football. Football is like kind of that very
Basket
like highlighted thing.
basketball, man. I mean,
Basketball too.
I
Yeah.
saw
Okay.
the other day. I think it was Shea Gilgeous Alexander. He come in and he had this like jacket was oversized jacket and these. I mean, I get it. You can wear what you want. It's your money. You buy whatever you want. But what happened to the days when you had to come in and, NBA, you had to, come in with a nice suit on. Now they come in wearing whatever they want to. So,
Well, what's funny though is fashion definitely does change, and I'm pretty sure they all think they are leading the fashion trends with what they wear, even though we may disagree.
right.
But yeah, pretty crazy. I mean, we're gonna for the first time since the 1970s, we're gonna see Yankees players with facial hair. It's a crazy long tradition that is suddenly gone to the wayside, and we'll see how many of them actually start wearing facial hair. It's just a really funny thing to me. It's not something you think about very often, but I always think about that Simpsons episode because it was such a play on the fact that Steinbrenner refused to let people wear facial hair, and there was apparently a big rift between him and Don Mattingly about it back in I think the 80s, 80s or 90s. So pretty funny. We'll see how that turns out.
Maybe if they get facial hair, maybe they might actually win a World Series.
Well, if they end up winning it the first year they have facial hair, that'd be something. I'm sure that'd be the
Right.
talk of the town. Like,
Right.
oh, now suddenly you guys are winning again.
That was a secret.
Yeah, yeah. But really, just staying on that the baseball theme, I do want to give our listeners just a very quick heads up. We are going to have our first guest in the near future, and he is a former baseball player. And I'm super excited because I really want to talk to him. What you just mentioned was spring training. Like from a player's perspective, I'm really kind of curious to see what they think of it because you look at NFL players and they don't want a long preseason, right? It's just more opportunity to get hurt. Um, but then you look at the players who either hold out and miss
Right.
a lot of it, or they're injured and they miss a lot of it, and then it takes them forever in the regular season to kind of get things going. So, really interesting from a baseball perspective. Do they like spring training? Do they like being able to engage with fans differently? Is it is our perception the same as theirs? Is it laid back? Is it much more of a just a hey, we're getting back in the swing of things, everything's pretty chill, or what? So, super excited to have that conversation.
Yeah, me too. And the trivia is we have something special that's going to come along with him appearing. So if you got to listen and comment, so we give you little hints. The first hint is he was the youngest player in Major League between 82 and 83.
And everybody right now is jumping to Google to see who he was. But yeah, so if you figure out who he is, you guys can put his name in the comments, and we've got some special prizes for those people. So yeah, super excited to have our first guest in the near future. So stay tuned for that. We'll have more on that as we get closer to it.
Did you see the thing today? The those NFL those referees that the NFL they caught them and they fired them. It's three of them. They fired them and they said they were part of a bribery ring.
All three NFL or referees.
Yes, they
And
was
what games did they
Baltimore.
in the
Baltimore.
playoffs? They were involved in playoff
Yep,
games.
Baltimore and Kansas City.
Wow.
But they can say that, but how many other games?
That's crazy. And you and I talked about this before. It creates a skepticism in fans' eyes where you just start sitting there thinking, am I really seeing a true, fairly judged game, right? And yeah, it'll be really curious to kind of see what that trickle down effect is. I know we talked about basketball. Basketball is really easy to,
Point shave.
yeah, just to make a call here or a no call there, and it's it's a fast paced game and you can miss stuff. But
think about some of the football games you've seen, bro. The referees swallowed a whistle. I mean, some guy can be holding it right there by him, and I didn't see it.
yeah,
I'm blind.
really interesting to see how that all pans out. But I don't know how they fix that. Like how do you make sure? I mean, unless the penalty is severe enough to deter it. But other than getting fired, are they going to get arrested?
Maybe.
If they're just getting fired and
But now is I guess the FBI is going to get involved,
yeah,
and so if that's the case, then yeah, they can get arrested. But like I say, are they going to? It's not going to change. It's still not going to change anything because you're not going to go back and replay that game.
well, yeah, definitely won't change any of that. But just even going forward, how do you reduce the risk of it?
That's true.
Like, clearly they must be making a lot of money to do it.
I'm quite sure it's well. You saw the Facebook. You see a thing on Facebook?
Yeah,
Like the Chiefs rolling out all these big carts of money and
yeah.
take care of my guys. But
Yeah.
I'm saying, man, it puts a black eye on them football. I mean, it really does.
Oh, for sure. And what's crazy is I watched that whole documentary on the kid from ASU back in the day.
Oh, you're talking about the basketball?
Yeah, who got caught, and like that's kind of the perfect example in the sense that he was a guaranteed first round draft pick, and he still risked it all
You know why I did it, right?
for that. Well, yeah, for the money.
He needed the money. His family.
He didn't need the money. He liked having the money,
Okay.
and it was super easy,
Right.
right? Like he went out there and he's like, "Wow, you're just gonna hand me stacks of cash, and all I have to do is miss a shot here or there."
Yeah, throw the ball away.
Yeah. So again, he didn't see that.
But he wouldn't have got caught if he told on himself. Well, they kind of went back and they started looking at some of the games he played.
yeah,
And like, there's something wrong here. But I mean, like you said, how can you fix it?
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like he thought it was so easy. The money was there. He didn't think that it would risk his entire potential career, right? But with these refs, it's like if you're not getting serious jail time,
Right.
making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, on this, then
So who you think gonna win the NBA championship, bro?
Dude, Cavs are looking good.
We can talk about that on the live side. Yeah, dude, I watched them. They beat the hell out of the Knicks last night, bro.
Oh yeah.
They're like, they was over in the first quarter.
Oh, so I was going to ask you, did you have a chance to watch that Laker Hornet game?
Don't even tell me.
Because we mentioned like, hey, how are these two gonna do coming down the stretch of a game like that?
Luka didn't do shit.
Right.
He didn't even the last parts of the game. He didn't even play. And then LeBrick James missed. He was LeBron. He missed had two shots at it and missed them both. I mean, come on, man.
So that's what we mentioned. Like, how are they going to mold together into those important games, closing minutes? Are they going to be able to, bring it home, or are they going to struggle? And it looks like right now they're struggling to kind of figure it out.
I still think that the championship, as I told you earlier, is going to be NBA Finals. Is going to be Cleveland and Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, their defense is tough.
Yeah.
Cleveland beat them once at home. They went to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City beat them. So that's
I'm more excited to see the Eastern Conference Championship if Boston and the Cavs are in it. Yeah, I think that'll be a hell of a
That should be
series.
that should be. I mean,
That'll probably be more entertaining than the championship, but we'll see.
you think so?
I think it could be. I think it'll be a hell of a matchup if those two are in the Eastern Conference Championship for sure. So, Debo. So, obviously, we're going to talk about 49ers when we can because we're 49er fans. All right, so Debo is approved to seek a trade. And you know how this season just ended. So, of course, all the analysts are saying, oh, here are the big moves all these teams should make. And Kansas City Chiefs should get Debo. And I'm like, oh, my God. Of all the teams for him to go to, I'd probably dislike it the most. But what are your thoughts on us getting rid of Debo?
I mean, he got when you say complain about give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. We're giving you the ball and you don't do nothing. So I think that a trade would be a good trade would be send Debo to Cleveland. Send him to Cleveland.
Garrett?
Get Miles Garrett. Put him on the other side of Bosa. And dude, you have bookends, and you got Leonard, you got Floyd. Who they gonna? What I'm saying is that, and they got Salah back. You know he's a hell of a defensive coordinator, and so with him, if you got, I'm saying if they did get Garrett, the defense would be totally solid. And like I said, me and you always talk about if Dre Greenlaw, if that dude can stay healthy, that right there is one of the best defenses in the NFL.
100% agree with that. If we got Miles Garrett, that'd be unbelievable. Like an incredible defense. I mean, our safeties last 2 seasons have been hurt back and forth, right? We have that rookie last year who was great.
Mustafa.
And then, yeah, Mustafa was phenomenal. And then the other guy before that, he got hurt the whole season. So our secondaries, if we're healthy, we're solid. We can probably pick up a little bit more help in the cornerback position. But on the front line and our linebackers, unbelievable.
I was looking at, they was talking about projected Purdy. But what I was looking at, they said 50 to 55 million.
Yeah, so what I'd be surprised if they didn't just franchise him.
I might.
I think it's not that they're not sold on him, but for that kind of money and creating a long-term contract with guaranteed money, they probably want to get another season out of him before they commit to that. But yeah, Debo, I love Debo. I love his mentality. I love him on the field. But he didn't perform at all this year. And I'm pretty sure this contract was the one that was very incentive-based, which obviously, to his point, created some dissatisfaction on his side of like, hey, I don't get the ball as much as I want. When I do get it, maybe he doesn't like the scheme or the play or whatever. He didn't put up much numbers at all. I mean, Kittle was their best wide receiver the entire season.
He's a tight end.
And granted, Ayuk got hurt early,
Right.
but it does say a lot, right? And he didn't do anything from the backfield. Debo didn't do much at all running the ball. So, I hate to say it, but I am fine with him getting traded, save that money, move it into a different position that'll be more beneficial for us, for
What
sure.
are your thoughts on McCaffrey?
Oh, man. If he stays healthy, then with him and Ayuk and Kittle, we don't know. Jennings, is he one more?
Oh, yeah. They just re-signed him.
Okay.
They signed him. Remember, they re-signed him last year.
That's right. So we got Jennings, we got the rookie Pearsall. So he's got enough weapons. If our offensive line, which has some opportunity, obviously, if our offensive line gives him time, he's got plenty of options.
The biggest thing on the offensive line, you gotta keep our big boy healthy. You gotta keep him healthy, man.
Oh yeah.
You gotta keep him healthy.
Yeah, for somebody like Williams to go down throughout the season is super tough.
He is I would say, if not the best, one of the best offensive linemen in all of football.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most people will put him as number one. When he's healthy, he's a beast. He's about as dumb as it gets. When we first got him, I was shocked. I was like, this is an amazing pickup, right? Now, if McCaffrey doesn't stay healthy, I'm still super optimistic with our backfield. If they stay healthy. We were on our fourth string running back this year.
But you know what, though? He may have been fourth string Garendo, but I think the way he's was playing towards the end, I think he could actually be number one.
He's got speed.
He's got speed, and he can catch the ball, and he will run you over.
And he's got the wits about him. For him to go down in those 2 games, I mean, no rookie's going to do that. And any rookie, I would probably score.
Like, I'm going to score my touchdown.
Yeah, like, no. You know, they'll understand it. It's fine.
Right.
I'm going to get into the end zone, get my first touchdown. For him to have that kind of football IQ is incredible. I mean, any player to do that, I get surprised when they do it. But for a rookie who's a four-stringer and just is lucky enough to be in there at this point, that was incredible. So, yeah, I think, granted, you can't replace McCaffrey, but if we have to, I'm pretty confident with the pieces we have for sure.
So who do you think will win the World Series?
Oh man, I think it's going to be one of those surprise teams again, right? I don't think it's going to be those big budget teams. I don't think the Dodgers are going to repeat.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think it'll be one of those ones. I'm hoping, I guess too. I'm hoping it'll be one of those smaller budget teams that just go on a crazy run and have an amazing, October and kind of run through the series with it. But it's so early, and that's my one problem with baseball is you play 162 games. And almost every time it comes down to the last game. It's like, what is the point of that? What is the point of having that long of a season?
Well, that just shows you in some divisions are more competitive than others. Like, look what happened last year to Cleveland and Detroit. I mean, they were like literally that close, and they gave Cleveland all they wanted. I mean, they really did.
I will say this, even though I'm not super old, I will say I'm a traditionalist in the sense I don't like messing with length of schedule. So when you look at the history books and you look at baseball, right, you're going to have 162 games for a long time. So it holds true. That was my biggest problem with the NFL, adding an extra game. Say, well, now you're going to have all these numbers skewed. You're going to be like, oh, well, he broke a record. Yeah, but he broke it in how many games compared to a Jerry Rice, right? Like that's always my go-to, right? When Jerry Rice has records that are challenged, it's like, come on. Like he did that one season with I think 12 games or something nonsense. Like he didn't even have a full season, and he still had an incredible performance. So yeah, I do not like when they mess with length of the season, change how many games people are playing and things like that. But 162 games and it comes down to the last one almost every time. It's crazy.
So who do you think was one of the best NFL running backs?
All time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a Barry Sanders guy. He's so dynamic. Bo Jackson was super powerful and just, he just unbelievable to watch. But if I had to watch any running back, it'd be Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders was just my guy to watch.
Good answer. I like Barry, but you know who I'll say?
Who?
Jim Brown.
Yeah, Jim Brown's a little bit older.
Yeah.
Different game for me.
But what I'm saying is, he didn't play as many games.
Yeah.
But look at the stats he put up.
Oh, yeah.
That's
no, super dominant.
Yeah.
Well, Jim Brown was like an All-American track star, too, wasn't he? Like, he was like the prototypical, I can do anything and everything at a super high level.
What I'm saying, he didn't play as many games before. Jim Brown, yeah, he was. I mean, these guys, you like I said, you racking up all these numbers, but you're also playing more games than they played back then. And because you got, they played, with that 10 game seasons when he played?
Yeah, they were much shorter.
And then they have, playoffs, so maybe 14 games total?
Yeah.
But now you're playing 17 games plus playoffs. So it gives you more time to get all that. That's why a lot of players who now, they don't really like the 17 game schedule. I mean, and what they should do is, okay, you're going to play 17 games. Then my thing is, play one preseason game. One.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with it, right? Is like they're putting their butts out on the line during preseason, and how many times do we see these big guys get hurt? It's like, come on, I get it. They need to get into shape and get rhythm going and all those things, but the risk definitely is not worth it to me, and I don't think it is to most players because they just are constantly seeing their teammates or themselves go down in preseason, and now what are you going to do, right?
A lot of players I've seen, and I heard Emmitt Smith say that it depends on how you take care of your body. So a lot of them get hurt because your hamstrings and, you hurt your calves and all because it's the way you train before the season. if you don't put in the conditioning that you need, do the proper nutrition and everything that you're going to get. And think about it, if you're out for a long period of time and you come back and you get hurt your first game from one injury, you're okay. Say if you've been out for your back and you come back, all of a sudden you hurt your hamstring.
Oh yeah, and I think that's you know I hate to bring his name up, but LeBron set that standard a long time ago. I mean, even if you think back to Tiger Woods reshaping the entire idea of fitness in golf, right? Um, how they prepare, how they train, how they rehab, how they take care of their bodies and make sure that they are always able to go at 100%. Um, and I think that's kind of the struggle with some of these younger guys too. It's like, well, season's over. I can go party. I can just chill. I mean, they're a huge video games are a huge thing in sports, right? So they're gonna lay around play video games for hours on end, and they'll slowly get into it. Maybe their nutrition drops off. They're not taking their supplements, all those things, and yeah, it's definitely creates this opportunity for them to get hurt really early on in the season. And then on top of all that, you're just gonna have freak accidents. I mean, no matter how well you train and how prepared you are, your body still is gonna do what it wants to do, right?
But right now is everybody is they're all over Luca. He's out of shape, isn't it? Okay, my thing is this. Everybody talking about his conditioning. I think I agree with one point. Instead of him going back home, stay here, train with LeBron James, who is, I mean, have you seen 40 years old? You've seen his body. I mean, he got the body of a 25-year-old. I mean, because he tip top shape, does the conditioning, does the workouts, and I mean, like I said, I was watching a game last when they played Portland. He had 40 points.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
and this guy, he's still outrunning these young guys down the court.
Yeah.
I mean, Father Time ain't caught him yet. Knocking on the door, but he ain't caught him yet. So I mean, to do some of the things he's doing, it's it is amazing. And Robert Ory said it the other night. He said for him to be at the top of his game and still one of the best players in the league at his age, he said that just goes to show you how well he takes care of himself. And granted, he spends anywhere from $1.5 million, $2 million on his body, but if it's your craft and it's something that you're going to be doing for your career, then maybe that's what all these guys should do. Make sure your body's in shape to take the punishment. I mean, you see, he does get hit sometime, bro, and they don't even call it nothing. And the excuse, oh, well, he's big. Okay, so what? Does that mean he can't? I mean, it's the same thing with Shaq. Look how Shaq used to get beat up.
Oh man.
And they used to maul Shaq.
Yeah.
Some of the fouls they'd call Shaq wouldn't call it. They'd be in jail for mugging him. I mean, that's the thing. You, I feel like sometimes they treat the bigger guys different than they treat some of the small. I mean, small guy fall down always a foul, but LeBron can run down the court and get smacked upside the head, and he's like, and they're looking at him like, oh,
Yeah. No, I agree. That's always a big piece of being the big guy, and they're not going to call all the fouls. You know what I was surprised to see because I saw that 40-point game too. Despite it being LeBron and him being in the league forever, he's only like sixth all time in 40-point games, 40-point plus games, which shocked me. I didn't look at the list. I'd be really curious actually to look at that list, but only six. I'm like, God, this guy's been playing forever, and he's always been putting up points. So yeah, I'll have to look at that one because I was surprised he was like six on the list all time. I was like, that's crazy.
man, that is crazy. Think about how much longer you think he'll play.
I mean, that's the thing. He just put up 40
I,
points. He's got Luke on his team now. Obviously, he had to have a lot of say in that trade, right?
yep.
Like,
I
there's
mean,
no way he didn't.
according to what they said, he knew nothing about it.
I
That's
don't
what they're saying.
believe that.
I mean, that's what they're saying. Like I said, I wasn't there. We don't know what happened. I mean, he said he knew nothing about the trade. Because they think about it, they had just played in Brooklyn, and the trade happened the same night. So Anthony Davis, mysteriously, he ain't at the game. He's hurt. But then that same night, he ain't there. Oh, this just in, big trade. Anthony Davis gets shipped to Dallas, and Luca goes to L.A. Somebody knew somewhere this trade was going down. And, like they say, if it works out, which I mean it can, Rob Palinka is going to look like a genius.
Oh, Well, yeah. I mean, the move they made is incredible, but
Right.
hard for me to believe that LeBron had no idea. They didn't ask. Maybe he didn't know like the complete details of it, but to go to him and say, "Hey, would you want Luca on your team if we could get him?" There had to have been some kind of
I mean,
conversation.
wait, hell yeah, you would. I
Right,
mean,
but you don't know that. I mean, everybody
man,
has an ego too, and he may not like how his game fits the team and all these things. So you don't know that for sure. But
I just like asking a little kid, would you rather have a hamburger or some ice cream?
not if you're like known for making hamburgers. You're gonna be like, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm a hamburger
They
guy,
might say, I
so
want, they might say, I want both. So
yeah.
yes. But
But yeah, hard for me to believe he didn't know about it. But yeah, with that trade, obviously they're looking to get younger. I don't know. I think he could play 3, 4 more years. I mean, he could play a lot longer. How long he will play, I can't imagine he's going to play more than 2 or 3. He's playing with his son. He achieved that, which is an incredible feat in itself.
let me ask you this. You just brought to you said that. What do you think about that? Do you think some people have, well, LeBron need to stop doing. He did not. This is the thing. He didn't make the Lakers draft him. He just what he said was, I would like to go wherever my son goes to play because I would like to play with my son. He didn't tell, hey, you know what? I want you guys to
That's
draft
the
my
same
son.
thing as an ultimatum, though.
That's just what it is, though.
Hey, right, and I don't blame him for that. I mean, but that's my point. It shows that he carries a huge voice in that organization. So for them to sign somebody who was unproven in college, didn't do anything in college really, signed him to join the team because LeBron says, I want to play with my son, and then turn around the next year or whatever and say, oh, well, he had no idea about the Luka trade? Like, come on,
Well,
that's
think about
crazy.
this, though. When he was in college, think about it. This kid had a heart attack. And so it's going to take him time. And KD's even said that. Kendrick Perkins even said that. It's going to take him time to get back because his kid almost died.
And perfect example, though, nobody would draft any kid that had a heart attack unless he's a LeBron's son. No way they would take on that risk. Are you kidding me? Why? I mean, you get a bad hamstring or, some like chronic injury, you're not getting drafted. It's just, well, they're not going to risk it. This kid had a heart attack, and they still drafted him. Yeah, only because LeBron gave him an ultimatum saying, "I'm going to go where he goes. Somebody will draft him, and that's where I'm going to play."
So, I mean,
I don't have a problem with that.
no, since we're on the topic of basketball, let's talk about the beloved Phoenix Suns.
Oh man,
My thing is, when they got KD, they were all, listening to the fans. Oh, yeah,
hyped.
we already hyped up.
Yeah,
Which, I mean, you got the older version of KD. You didn't get the younger
right.
KD. So you get the KD that's going, on this side of it, with not the younger one, but they were already, fans. Oh yeah, we're gonna win some championships. They can barely make the
Well,
playoffs.
same thing with Chris Paul. We got him kind of on the other side of things as well, right? And he's to me the whole reason why they lost the finals. He played horrible. Um, but yeah, no, they are about as unperforming of a team as possible right now. I think they're barely at above 500 even.
The game the other night, they lost against the Spurs without their big man, and I'm looking, I'm like, really, Phoenix? I say, you guys cannot beat the Spurs without Victor.
So that was one thing I was going to bring up to you. What do you think of that? Because that was I mean, I hate seeing these generational players get these crazy injuries out of nowhere so early in their career, and that's a big one. A
That
blood
is,
clot in your shoulder.
yeah.
I
Well, he's
mean,
done for the season.
yeah, exactly. So you have this huge, idea what this guy's going to be for your organization, and out of nowhere that happens. And this is what his second year,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, but that's something that, honestly they didn't. That is something they did not see come. I mean, that ain't who did.
Yeah, yeah.
I
There's no
mean,
way.
so they was and what kills me with the press, all this stuff. Well, that right there with that blood clot, you ain't thinking about his health. Come on, man, think about the young man's health. But ain't thinking about that. Well, that's going to cost him, probably going to cost him about $50 million. Let the kid
Oh
survive.
yeah,
I mean, let him get through this first
yeah.
without, trying to run over with a truck. I mean, it's a blood clot. That ain't nothing. That's something major.
No,
So
absolutely. I was shocked to see that when they came out, and then to follow that up, they say he's out for the season. I was like, that's terrible. And then the Suns lose to them. I'm like, wait a minute. How did you guys just lose to the Spurs? I mean, they just lost the best player on their team and the best player they've had for who knows how long, and you guys lost.
I can tell
That's
you how he lost to the Spurs because San Antonio also got De'Aaron Fox.
yeah,
That kid can score.
yeah.
That's how he lost it. That's how because that dude when he's on, you ain't stopping it with nobody.
But this is funny because you brought this up before. When you have one guy, let him do whatever he wants to do. You contain everybody else, and you should be able to win.
Right.
Yeah, our team. I hate to say it, but I feel like the Suns are ready for a whole new start over.
So the Lakers got Denver tonight. Denver they have owned LA.
Yeah,
So they said, well, this is gonna be a measuring stick. We'll see. Because I guarantee you, Luca will play tonight. He didn't play against Portland,
yeah,
but I guarantee you he will be in the lineup tonight.
yeah. No, they'll need him for that one because it'll be a good measuring stick on what the playoffs might look like.
So that being said, what do you think about there are some teams out there they just can't beat certain teams
So, I think
in
it's
all
a
sports?
yeah, I think it's a combination of things. Sometimes it's the coach. I think sometimes the coach can't get out of his own way and figure out how to beat that team. Um, I mean, we look at the Bills and the Chiefs. I mean, granted, the Bills have had horrible luck, but um, I think sometimes it's just the coaching thing where the one coach can just continuously figure out how to outperform the other coach. And then in some circumstances, it's the players. They can't get that out of their head, right? It's like that term of living rent free in your head.
Mhm.
I think some teams
But
can do that.
what I'm saying is, you think about it. In some of the games, the Lakers has even when they played Denver, they've even had to lead, dude. They can lead for 3 quarters, and they get in the fourth quarter, and they can't throw the ball in the ocean. Like all of a sudden, Denver gets charcoal hot, and Lakers can't stop them. But like I said, they need to go back and watch the Cleveland film. You know what? Let Jokic get 50. I'm gonna lock everybody else. I'm shutting you down because, like I said, if you let him get his, take everybody else out of the you ain't gonna never see one person beat one ain't beating five.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's interesting because that's a good example of not that any professional athlete would ever admit this, but maybe in the back of their head, oh, geez, we lost the last four matchups against them, right? And then you get to the fourth quarter and you start playing tight. Like, okay, let's just not lose it instead of trying to win it.
Right.
And typically, when you're trying not to lose, is when you lose. Like
But,
prevent defense.
but dude,
Like,
they almost lost against Portland
yeah,
because they were like what 12, 13 points, and Portland was walking them down.
yep,
What you talking about? Yeah, when you say prevent defense, the only thing most time a prevent defense would do will prevent you from winning.
exactly. And they still do it every freaking game. You watch this and you're like, why are you giving up these 20-yard passes? You're just gonna let them drive right down the field, and all of a sudden it's a close game again. Like, it's
And you think about the
infuriating.
prevent defense, when you throw the ball, all it takes is one missed tackle.
Yeah,
And one missed tackle. Everybody's back. I mean, say if it's, 3rd and 15, something like that. You plan to prevent. You miss one tackle, he gains 40 yards. And and then the coach about scratching his head. Well, maybe I should have played something different.
that's what I'm saying. You
So
you stick with what got you there, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you decided to change it the last couple minutes of the game.
right.
It's insane to me. So I do think sometimes it's the coaching piece of it. Sometimes it's probably more of just the players not being able to get over that hurdle of we know we can beat this team. Let's get out there and prove it.
And that's a big thing. I mean, the thing like I said, sport to sports. I mean, it was to me more competitive earlier days. As you see, as it's progressing over the years, it's like yeah, they want to make their money, but the thing of it is now most of them it's all hey, you know what? I want to get my next contract, and you see some of these guys, you feel like when they get this contract, they just sit down. Well, you know what? I done got mine. So I'm good. If they were plus now, man, what we was talking about is look at these guaranteed contracts, bro. I mean, you get these agents and they get, I mean, more power to them. I mean, you sign a $180 million contract and you get 160 million guaranteed, more power to you. Because these agents, they're working it. What I'm saying is, these teams who are giving up all this money, Cleveland, they haven't even had Deshaun Watson for a full season yet.
The amount of money that goes, and I don't know if this is an accurate definition, but like that dead cap space, this money that they're paying people who are no longer actually performing for them. I mean, I think it was 2 years ago, the NFL literally came out and told the owners, please do not fire your coaches as soon as your season is over. Because there was like millions upon millions of dollars out there that are being paid to coaches who are no longer on that team. So it's like one of these coaches is already on like 2 teams later and he's still getting paid from that first team. It's insane.
No, I got one for you. Bobby Bonilla. Do you know that the Mets are still paying this dude? He gets $1.2 million, I think, until maybe another 4 or 5 more. He ain't played since what, the late 90s.
Long ass
Yeah,
card.
and the Mets they call it Bobby Bonilla Day. He got that every year. He gets over $1 million still from the Mets, deferred money.
That is insane. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. Again, thank you all for joining us. We are super excited. We're going to have our first guest on soon. If you didn't hear earlier, but we're going to throw some, we'll call them prizes out to some of our listeners. Stay tuned, and if you have figured out who our guest is, make sure you put it in the comments.
And you don't have to sign up. You don't have to pay for anything. It's not well, I got to get this many entries. It's just figure out who it is, and the names will be drawn at random. And I'm not saying if you do it, then you're going to get it, but it's a chance.
I like that. It's a chance. So, hey, that's all you need is a chance. Awesome. Well, hey, I'm Dustin, and this is...
I'm Vic.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us again. You guys all take care.
Wants to see Vince Carter, who had told Kenny Smith that he has 4 dunks that no one has ever seen. All right, here is Vince Carter with his first stop.
Let's go home. Let's go home, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home.
Hey, that is a reverse 360 going against the grain. That is unbelievable.
This building just exploded, and perfect on the scoreboard. All right, and here is the second dunk of the night for Vince Carter. And Vince adding to the repertoire. Vince Carter finishes with a 49, and the reason is Kenny Smith, the only judge not to award a 10.
And he's looking at me because I told you he set the precedent with the first one.
This the finale on the first round for Vince Carter. Oh, it did not.
It's over. It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
The judges are coming over the table to congratulate Vince Carter. This is unheard of.
Oh my goodness gracious, it is over. Did I call it, Danny, or what?
Vince Carter with a spectacular show on this first round. All right, Vince Carter with his first on the final round.
Ladies, wait, time out. Can I take a timeout?
Have we ever seen that before?
Can I take a timeout?
I saw him rubbing his upper arm, and I was wondering what he was doing. He was just cleaning it off, making sure there was nothing slippery there, because he knew how far into the rim he was going.
Wait a moment, Dan. Have you ever seen that?
I've never seen that before. I'm not sure the guy can't go in through the rim head first.